Hey everyone, Nicole here. I actually shared this in my Instagram stories earlier today and I got a lot of great feedback, and I thought I'd make a YouTube video talking about appraisal in real estate. I've been investing in real estate now along with my husband for probably 8 years or so, flipping, rentals, Airbnb, and this information about appraisal is really relevant whether you are an agent, you're a person selling your house, you have an Airbnb or a rental property or even a personal property, you're refinancing, you want to get a home equity line on, or need to appraise for some reason. So what is an appraisal and why does it matter? If you have any kind of financing or loan or debt on a house, like a mortgage, that's why you have an appraisal. An appraisal is an opinion of the value of the property based on its condition and comparable homes in the area. And the reason that it's important is because banks are lending money and they need to make sure that if you were to default on your loan or die tomorrow and couldn't pay it, that they feel confident that this house is worth this amount that we're going to lend you, and we could sell this off and clear that from our books should we ever really need to. So real estate deals fall apart all the time because of appraisals. A lot hinges on the appraisal, and it's very important, especially if you're selling a home or trying to pull some extra equity or loan value out of that property, that it appraises for what you're expecting or what you need in order to close a deal. So there are a few things I do anytime I'm selling or refining or mortgaging a property so I can get maximum value and help that appraisal go in the direction I want it to go in. The first thing is I show up, I meet the appraiser on site, I schedule the time for when I can be there. I want to be there to show them anything in the house. There has always been questions asking things about even particular finishes or what was done. They find it really helpful sometimes just to walk through the house with you, but no pressure. You can just let them know you're there for any questions. You don't need to like babysit them or follow them around. You don't want to make them feel weird. But that's just one thing that a lot of people don't do that can in and of itself be a huge help. The other items are actually things I put together. It takes me less than an hour and I bring it on site with me and I hand it to the appraiser. The first thing is a list of improvements. This for me is one page. It is a typed up list of the details of anything I've done to improve that property that cost money and maybe added value to the house. So anything from tile work to plumbing, a roof, windows, make an itemized list, make it detailed, make it look like a lot of stuff. Show that this house is worth more than what you paid for it. The second thing I do is I provide a list of comparables or comps. If you are not a real estate agent or you don't have an agent selling your home, for example, you might be able to call in a favor with a friend who is one, or at the very least, do a little bit of research into your local auditor website. Even Zillow will show you what properties sold for that you might find or know of that are comparable to yours. When they sold, the size of the house, the price that it sold for. You can print off a little information even there if you don't have any other way to do it. So I pick the things I think are most closely supporting the value of my house. Sometimes it's 3 or 4. And I will often also put a little notation along with it about how that particular house did compare to mine. So if it was a house that, say, cost a similar amount or more, but it didn't have a refinished kitchen or it didn't have the level of improvements yours have, it's important to note those kind of things because that shows that your house is worth potentially even more than the nearest comparable that an appraiser might find. If the property you are getting appraised is a rental property you own or even an Airbnb, it is helpful in the valuation of your property to include either a copy of a signed lease that shows how much money you're earning each month from a tenant, or a copy from Airbnb, VRBO, whatever shows what your gross rental income is. Because one of the ways appraisers can value a rental property is a multiplier of how much rent it actually receives. If you provide that info to them, especially if it is a high value kind of bit of information, that can definitely skew the appraisal higher than a standard property that might not be renting for as much. Another thing I do is I provide photos. Appraisers will come in and they will take photos of every room. It's required as part of their job. But what I like to provide are before photos if I did significant work to any room in the house. Now, if you didn't think that or have the foresight to do that, that's fine. It's not totally necessary, but to me, visuals speak a large volume compared to a typewritten list. So just one example, this is the house we're in right now. This is almost the same view right behind me. I don't always provide an extensive stack, even just 3 or 4, whatever you might have. A real estate agent who's working for you or potentially helped you buy the house that we're talking about could even pull before photos from when that house was last listed and provide those to you to share with the appraiser as before. Another thing I always provide along with these few lists is my contact information. Give them a phone number and email address. Let them know that if they missed anything or forgot anything or have any questions at all, that they can contact you anytime. Just keep it as simple as that. One more thing that I do is I provide the actual sale price. So they don't always get that information from another source if you are pending on a sale of a house. So I would print off, which is usually the first page of a real estate contract, and it has the price that is offered to you right on top. You can block out any identifying information from the buyer or whatever else. And this is especially valuable in a market where values keep going up and people are going above asking price, or you're getting multiple offers on a property. If I have a property that got multiple offers, even though only one is the accepted one, I will throw those pages in as well to show that it's not just this one person that thinks my house is worth this amount and is willing to pay it, but here's 2 or 3 or whatever others who are offering close or at or above asking as well. That will help support the job the appraiser's doing, because at the end of the day, they need to make a bank feel comfortable with lending on a property and saying it's worth what this person is willing to pay, or it's worth what a bank might be willing to lend for you, whether it's an equity line or a refi or whatever. And lastly, I would just say that if you are selling your home and you are using a real estate agent, a full service agent who is getting a commission for working for you, this is something they should be doing for you, should be helping you through, that you can ask them to do. They can put together these comparables, these lists, anything to help support the value that you're trying to get out of your house. Just to wrap up, appraisal is super important because often the deal going through hinges on what that appraiser values your home at. So you really want it to be valued at the level that you're trying to get, especially if you're selling. So I hope you found this helpful. I will be covering some more real estate investing, flipping, Airbnb type videos over the next few weeks. And if you have any more questions about the appraisal or any of these other topics, comment below and I'd be happy to try to answer them. Thanks.